Faculty Resource Center software is what I've been asked to present on today. You can see this graphic. This is a screen capture of the icons of the software in the Faculty Resource Centers. Hi, I am Dee. I will be your guide introducing the software available in the Faculty Resource Centers. As an overview of software will be presented from a faculty perspective. What faculty need, the outcome, the instructional purpose, determines what application to use. Apple says we have an app for that. Instructional resources and technology says we have an application for that. This is an introduction to software available in the FRC on campuses. The Faculty Resource Centers are usually located close to or within the campus libraries. I've divided software into 4 broad areas for us to discuss today. Screen capture, graphics, and video. Next, we'll look at faculty creating presentations, online presentations when they can't be there. Exam and test software, and then just miscellaneous softwares that we have available. Let's get started with screen capture and graphics and video. The first application that we're going to look at is Snagit. Snagit is a very easy to use application where faculty can capture what they see on their computer screen as an image, or they can capture it as a video with narration. I think of Snagit as low-end, quick, get it done, not long shelf life. For example, if I show you this website, Terry Shaw is a nutrition professor here at HTC. She has her students develop and print their own individual Choose My Plate food plans. She demonstrates this process in class using this computer screen, but she reports that 50% of her students still have difficulty completing the task. So therefore, we use Snagit to do screen captures. Let me bring up an example here. This is our Word handout that we've created with step-by-step directions for her students. Each of these graphics was captured using Snagit. And then in Snagit, you also have an option to easily add things like this little highlight box around the URL, or to add arrows that show you go from super tracker down here to daily food plan. If I scroll on down, you can see again that we're trying to point the student's eye to the important part of what they need to do, all the way down till they finally have their food plan that they can print and bring to class. So this is an example of using the graphics to create a step-by-step directions. I use this very frequently to send something to faculty. They send me an email saying, how do I do X? And so I do a few screen captures and put it in an email and send it back to them. It's very efficient. We also can do I'm going to do a share now, and I lost my file, so it's going to take me a minute to go back and get my video file. So now what I'm looking for to get is a Snagit video of the same information. Should be opening up now. Here it is. And now it's loading. All right, so this is our little video that we could capture very quickly with Snagit. This is a demonstration of how to determine your food plate. So let's do Someone, let me pause this. Somebody has a mic on because we're getting feedback. Can we make sure all the mics are off, and I'll restart this, or I don't guess I need to restart it, but I made sure my My mic is muted, and I'm going to start again. If you'll make sure all the mics are muted. I would use this again as like Terry called and she needed it that day. We needed something really quick, not for a long shelf life. It's a quick, easy, get it done thing. I could share this as sending it as an email attachment. If the file is too big, I can move the video file to Google Drive and then share with the students there. And I would only leave it on my drive for a day or two and then delete that. Okay, next we're going to go on to looking at different types of video capturing editing software. If we did the same thing with Camtasia, I did a little different part so it wouldn't be quite so boring. Now I'm going to do a share and find my Camtasia file. All right, the Camtasia file is loading. What I would want you to look at in Camtasia or think about is that we're able to add a title. We're able to add some background music. We can do what they call call-outs, where we again highlight and draw the student's attention to the specific part. With this, I would call this like the next level above Snagit, and I would want to stream it from our streaming server. I would want it to be something that has a fairly consistent shelf life. For example, if they're going to change that website every day, then it wouldn't be worth the energy to do the video. So let's look and see the difference. All right, now we're going to look at what I would consider to be the highest end software for video that we have. I'm going to share a file that was done with Premiere Elements, not Premiere Elements, Premiere, excuse me. Let me find that file and we'll share it. Premiere Elements, you can import from all different types of digital camcorders. You can have multiple audio-video tracks that has more sophisticated transitions. It's just a much more powerful program. So I would use this for my best quality. Diane Whitley Bogart videotaped distinguished American literature professors. We imported the video from the digital camcorder to Premiere. And then we added graphics so it's not just the person presenting. At the end, we have what are scrolling titles, and faculty really, really love the scrolling title. This video does not have good audio. When faculty shoot video, they're not professionals, and it's not the quality as if our staff shot it. But let's look at it. And here is our scrolling title that faculty really love. So again, Tara used this. She had very, I don't know, maybe 10 distinguished professors. So it expanded what she could present to her American literature class. And then she had activities for the students after they watched the video or as they watched the video to interact. Okay, so now I'm going to change back over to my other screen. If you'll bear with me a minute, we're hopping around here. This is just a little bit more about Premiere. You can see just, for example, all the different text styles that you have for your text. And then these are the different things that you can pull in. I had one faculty person, nursing faculty, and one of the other nursing faculty was giving a presentation about a heart disorder, and she grabbed her little flip camera and filmed it, and actually it was, I mean, it's not ready for prime time, but it was actually a very nice presentation. So again, you have all of these options, and it's what I consider to be the highest level, and I would want videos that were done with this streamed from the streaming server that we have here at ACC. All right, now we're moving on to a little bit about graphics. This is the last in our first area. We have Photoshop on the computers and the FRCs. This is what the Photoshop interface looks like. And these are some of the typical things that faculty have asked me to do. One thing is they'll have PowerPoints, and they'll say, my PowerPoint's way too big. Well, I've got these great big files. Or, for example, for this one that I did for fashion design, you can't even see all of the picture because it's so big, or the graphic. So we can resize, we can make smaller. Another thing that faculty frequently ask me to do is I went into the physical therapy assistant program classroom, and they wanted just the skeleton, took a photo, and then we can go into Photoshop and we can crop just for what they need. Then going the opposite direction, these were all individual photos of the IDS faculty, staff, like myself. So these would be all individual photos, and then we can go and do just the opposite of making a collage out of different photos. So this is the end of the first section. We can see if we have any questions or comments. If not, move to the next one. We're going to look at presentation software next. And what I consider to be presentation software is when faculty can't be there to present their lecture or their class session. We're going to look at SoftChalk, Captivate, and Microsoft Producer. Okay, so let's move over here and open up this. We'll close that out and go to SoftChalk. This is the SoftChalk website. And what I'm going to do on this website, we're getting a lot of feedback. Did somebody turn on the mic? Okay, seems all right now. All right, so we've got sample lessons, and I wanted us to be aware of the variety here. We have something from World War II, Quality Matters, which is a rubric for evaluating an online course, mathematics, linguistics, English as a second language, history, that's health and science, and science. So broad areas. Let's then look at a lesson and show you some of the features of soft chalk. Okay, if we move our mouse over these little blue words, we can see that a definition comes up. Okay, there we've got the definitions. I'm seeing the Cypress video. We might want to take their camcorder down. Optic nerve. So we have definitions, and students don't have to leave the lesson to go look up the definitions. Also, notice the interface. With soft chalk, you choose a template, and the template is consistent throughout your lesson. It puts up we're going to close that little video. It won't play well from the web. All right, we don't want you to show. You can see at the top that we have our pages that we can easily navigate that's set up automatically with soft chalk. If we go down to the bottom, we have a return to the top or the next page. And then there are interactive features. So if I roll my mouse over, say, the iris, it gives me information about the iris. Or the retina, I have information about the retina. If we go to page 2 and that little video keeps wanting to come up, you can also have interactive exercises, and these can be graded. You can upload it to Blackboard and connect it to the Grade Center so it's automatically graded. So let's look at this. So we have an eye here, and it tells me to click on a specific part of the eye, and it tells me, right, good job. Now it tells me to go, let's do one wrong. Sorry, incorrect answer. Now I got it right. And here's another one. And then here's my last one. Whoops, wrong. There we go. Okay, moving on down to show you other interactive exercises. And you can see you have another graphic over there. There's another, what we call check for understanding. It's a good instructional process to teach something and then have the students interact with it. So this one is a drag and drop. We'll move that over there. And let's do one wrong. Comes right back. All right, moving on down, here's another interactive exercise. This one is ordering. So if I put this one, it's in the correct spot, and let's see if I get this one wrong. It just goes back. Again, that's for the student to interact with the material and learn that. And then they even have a little puzzle here that we can make as a puzzle. And there's our puzzle. Whoops, didn't quite get it there. There it is. So that's soft chalk. Next, we're going to look at Captivate, and I'm going to go back to an open file that I have open. So again, it will take me just a minute to go back to that chair. And it's working on opening it. All right. So with the Captivate, many of the health science faculty were required to teach hybrid classes so that they would teach the same class one day at ECU and the same class at Roundlaw. We can take a sound for the video. You might want to pause it. I do pause it. I hear, Renee's telling me that we can hear the sound from the presentation. So let's just jump to that, and let me jump something, and then we'll just close it out. So I'm going to go ahead and close this because I think it's giving us some problems, and go back to my original screen here. All right, let's close out everything that has to do with Captivate so it doesn't cause us any problems. Now here it is on the website, and I don't think you can hear the audio from the website. Is that correct? No audio from the website. It has controls for the students, so they have control. You can move forward or you can move back. If I'm listening to the lesson and I say, now, gosh, what was that she said? I could go back like 3 slides or whatever. I can use the first one here to refresh. You can have questions embedded in Captivate, and if the student doesn't make a particular score or score high enough, you can have them branch back through the same material, or you can have them branch back through more in-depth instruction. So, and you can also add screen captures to Captivate. So most faculty haven't done that. They've stuck with the PowerPoint, so this is what I use when I teach my class face-to-face. And basically it's the flipped concept, flipped classroom concept, that the students get the content outside of class so that all the class time is used for hands-on activities. Also, I've had faculty come and ask to use this or say, I go to a conference, what can I do? My students have to have their material. So this is a fairly easy way for them to create a lesson. With our recent bad weather days, we've had some demand for how can I have the students make up a class outside of class time. There also might be a difficult concept that your students just can't get in class. And so you could do a small lesson on that difficult concept, and then they can review it as many times as needed. So we looked at Captivate now, and now we're moving on to our third, what I call presentation software. Let me move on here. This is Microsoft Producer for PowerPoint. I personally am more used to and familiar with the old 2003 version. It was an add-in to PowerPoint. So when you had PowerPoint open, you could click the add-in and it would open up a window and you could narrate with your slides, coordinated with your slides, and then it saves it as a video. This 2010 version is much more robust, and it's a standalone. So if you look on the left-hand side of our screen, you can see you can add video, audio, images, slides, and HTML. And you add those down here in the bottom, in the timeline. And then over here on the right, you have a little video preview screen with your controls to play, go forward, or go backwards. This is a finished producer example. On the right-hand side is the actual PowerPoint slide. It's a graphic of it, of course. Then we have the video here on the left top with the controls. And then listed under that are the names for each of the slide, and you can use that for navigation. I did read several places that this is very much a PC application. So before faculty did much with this, I would want to do a test and make sure it's going to work on the Mac for us also. Okay, let's move on. This is actually the three things that I wanted to show for creating a presentation when the faculty person can't be there in person. So we looked first at SoftChalk, which you can upload to Blackboard and integrate with the Grade Center. Then we looked at Captivate, and finally we looked at Producer. So we're going to give you a minute to answer questions. Next, we're going to look at test exam software in the FRC. As we already said, in SoftChalk, which has been very good instructional process, you can embed questions as you go through. We call that test for understanding. You can do the same thing in Captivate, and Captivate allows you to branch back if the student didn't get all of the information or needs review. Now we're going to look at Respondus, which actually allows you to build a test, like a paper test that students would take in their classroom, or you can build a test and upload it to Blackboard and integrate it with the Grade Center. If we look at the beginning here, we can create a file. There are test banks that come with textbooks. The faculty person would have to get a username and a password from the textbook rep, but often they're very, very good if you have a textbook associated with a text bank associated with your textbook. The exam wizard allows you to actually create a test in Respondus from the beginning. I use most often import questions. If you use the correct format, you can import questions. I have the best luck with Notepad, but you can also import from Word. Okay, moving on with Respondus. We have all of these different question types. It's very robust, and if I click More, it'll spin for a little bit, opening it, and then we'll see that there's even additional question types. You can copy from another file, so you can create some tests, and you could copy tests from your test bank, or you can copy tests from another test that you've given another time. Like, say, for example, you're creating the final exam and you want to take questions from the previous test. Looking a minute at settings, on this, critically, and this is what most people think of when they think of Respondus, especially faculty. Down here on the bottom, there used to be an option to make an exam secure for testing in the testing center, and that disappeared one day. So I called the Respondus tech people and said, hey, how do I make this exam secure? And they said that they removed that option because there are too many different learning management systems and they're making too many changes too often. But we still can make tests secure in Blackboard. We just use the Blackboard Respondus Lockdown Browser tool. Very easy to do. Okay, moving on. If you're going to publish to Blackboard, you can use this Publish Wizard. One of the pluses is you can publish to one class, or if you're teaching 3 sections of the same class, you can publish to all 3 classes at the same time and tell Blackboard exactly where you want that exam to go. Print options. Faculty frequently come to me and they say, I have a test in Blackboard, my students are taking it in the test center, but the test center wants the backup print copy. So you can easily print from here. If you're creating a test, if faculty are creating their test for face-to-face testing in the classroom, again, they can print it here. Also, there might be an OSD student that you need to have a special print copy for, or maybe a student's doing a makeup and you need a print copy. Finally here in Respondus is the retrieval. If you have an exam in, say, a Blackboard previous semester course, you can't find your file for it, you can connect to Blackboard, retrieve that exam, and then most often faculty then need to print it, or they can upload it to the appropriate Blackboard course. So really, let's bring back up this PowerPoint. So with our testing software in the FRCs, you can embed questions in TalkChalk, Captivate, and we have Respondus to create a standalone exam or an exam for Blackboard. Do we have any questions about the testing software before we move on? Okay, I don't see any questions, so we'll move along here. We're going to look at what I'm just calling miscellaneous software, things that we have to fulfill faculty's need in the FRCs. The first one we're going to look at is Audacity. Audacity is a digital audio editing program. You can create record audio if you choose to do so. What I recommend or would recommend that we discuss with faculty is that Blackboard has 5 built-in collaborative voice tools. They have voice email, so faculty can send email to students, and if they set it up correctly, students can answer via a voicemail. We have voice presenter, where faculty can have, they can do basically a little introduction or a summary of something, and all the student would hear is the faculty voice. We have voice presenter, where the faculty can have like a web page or web pages and narrate those web pages. We have voice discussion board, which is the same as our text discussion board, except it's all in voice. And it has a nice feature that I have one faculty person using, where he's actually testing his students with a voice discussion board, and he has it set up so that the students can't hear the other students, only he can. And then you can do voice podcast. Richard Espinosa has done, I've worked with him to do podcasts for his class. He says the students really like them and that it helps the students to learn. So let me go over and we're going to share a podcast. I'll have to open it up. Just bear with me a minute. We'll find it. Here we go. After listening to that, we know why the students like to review a lot. Okay, let me go back to share my screen again. Okay, so that's our audio software. Now let's look at our next one. This is Adobe Acrobat Pro. Faculty will come to me and say, I've got this Word doc with some graphics in it, and it plays differently for different people. Or they'll say, all of my students don't have Word. How can I make my materials available to all of my students? So if we write it, it's a PDF file. It's available to all the students, and it's consistent. Another thing sometimes faculty are concerned about is they don't want students to be able to save and change their document. So that's what I use Adobe Acrobat Pro for. The students only have to have the free Adobe Reader. Another thing that I've done with Adobe Acrobat Pro, we're all familiar with the monthly mileage report form that we fill out. But Peter Wheeler, who is an EMS research professor, said, I want a PDF form where my students fill out, this is my research topic, and then he has specific things like what journals they're planning to use, all of the steps for their research process. So when he gets that from those students, of course, he can review it and see if they're on track and it looks okay, or if a student's having a problem, he has something to refer to that lets him help them and identify maybe where the problem is or how they could do better. The next miscellaneous one is Roxio Easy Media Creator. I have had faculty more than once come in to me and say, my whole life is on this flash drive. If anything happens to this flash drive, my whole teaching career is over. And I have had a flash drive just totally die one day on me. So I usually recommend let's just go ahead and write all of your files as a backup to a DVD, and then you have that security of not having to worry about that flash drive dying on you. This is what the Easy Media Creator looks like. So up at the top, you have the files that you have on your computer, and then down here, the files that you're going to write to the DVD. Moving along to our next miscellaneous software, it's Handbrake. Handbrake is a transcoder application to convert files. So, for example, the faculty may have an AVI file or an MPEG-4 file, but they're doing a PowerPoint presentation, and PowerPoint really likes when it's media the best. So whenever the faculty need to change from one video format to another, Or maybe they have an AVI file that's much too large, and so they need to make it to a more compatible, usable file type. So that's Handbrake. Coffee Cup. We still have faculty that have websites on the www.austincc.edu website. As instructional designers, we are encouraging faculty to move their websites to Google Sites. But there's still a lot of them up there. We used to have Dreamweaver in the FRCs, and faculty use that to download, edit, say their syllabus for the next semester, save it, and upload it again. We no longer have Dreamweaver available, so Coffee Cup is a good, easy-to-use FTP software. On the left-hand side is what the faculty person has on their computer, and on the right-hand side is the server. So, of course, they download, edit, save, and upload. That finishes my presentation of the different software that I wanted to present that's available in the FRC.